Hey everybody, welcome back to the How to Build series where we're going through every single champion in the game, and I'm putting together a quick reference guide for newer players who need a little guidance with a particular champion. I won't be going over masteries and later game builds and things of that nature because it gets a little specific based on how you want to use someone. So again, this is just kind of quick reference to point you in the right direction with a particular champ should you decide that you want to use them. So that being said, let's jump into it with Flesheater. He is a rare in the Ogren tribe. He's a support champ. Base HP's decent enough. Base defense is nice, is over 1,000, and then base attack is actually not bad either for a support. So pretty nice base stats. The base speed is okay, maybe slightly on the lower end, but nothing that can't be overcome. And then a little bit of accuracy as well built into the kit, so that is nice. So let's look at the skills. Attacks one enemy, has a 20% chance of placing a freeze debuff on the target for one turn. So first turn freeze, it's a little crowd control for situations like campaign, arena. It could be nice. Generally, it's hard to plan on, hard to build around a 20% chance to freeze for single target anyway. So maybe a little bit dangerous to build for an arena, but it's there. It could be a nice little bonus depending on the rest of the kit. But I think pushing through campaign, he could be useful based on this. I think that's where that has the tendency to be the most effective. Maybe not so much in dungeons, maybe on the waves if your team's having a little trouble with the waves. But I think as a campaign pusher, this could be pretty nice. Second skill, attacks one enemy 2 times. On each critical hit, decreases the target's turn meter by 15%. So that's kind of nice too. Anytime you have turn meter knockback, it's helpful in dungeons. It's helpful when you can knock back a boss's turn meter, because again, it just helps you turn cycle. In Ice Golem, it's a little bit less effective because he's going to attack when his health drops below a certain point regardless. But even so, it keeps his other attack at bay, and then for the other dungeons, it can be nice as well. So it's a great dungeon skill. I just want to see, he does scale off of attack. Okay. Third skill, places a 50% increase attack buff on all allies for 2 turns. So it's a nice AoE attack buff. It is on a 5-turn cooldown, but that's not too big of a deal, I guess. But it's helpful. Again, nice. I think he's going to be decent enough on a campaign pushing team. Decent enough in dungeons for the attack buff and the attack bar knockback on the bosses. Could play around an arena if you wanted to, like if you have an attack bar booster and you needed the attack buffer, he could fill the role if you didn't have a lot of other options. But he's not bringing a ton to a fight. He's decent enough. He's certainly usable, but I don't think it would take too long to pull a better version of whatever it is he's doing for you. So as far as gear goes, we want him to be fast. We want him to be accurate. And then you could kind of play around with it from there based on these base stats. If you wanted to make him do a little bit of damage, you could focus on the damage. If you wanted him to be tanky and hang around longer and be around to pepper in the freezes as he's able, land the attack bar knockback in the boss fights that are going on a little bit longer, and be around to cycle through this buff again, then you could go tankier. But that's really up to you. I think speed and accuracy are going to be necessary though. Speed because again you want him to turn cycle, especially with the buff being on such a big cooldown, and because he's got turn meter knockback. The more turns he can get and cycle through to this, the more effective the turn meter knockback's going to be. The more you can do it in a fight, the bigger of a deal it becomes, right? I think probably campaign and dungeons are where he's going to really be the most beneficial. As I said, he's got a couple of uses in arena, but you can almost certainly find better versions of what he's doing for you in arena. Clan boss, he really has no utility, to be honest. So speed set, accuracy set for sure. I would focus on those. And then again, if you wanted to make him do a little damage, you could put an attack set on him. If you wanted to tank him up a little bit, you could go life set or defense set. That's really on you, however you decide you want to use him. If you try to go the attack route and you realize he's getting killed too fast in your runs, switch him over to a life set or a defense set and see if that helps out. But I would probably recommend, for the tanky build anyway, a speed on the boots no matter what. You wanna have speed as a main stat on the boots no matter what. Then for the armor and gloves, it's going to depend. If you want to go the tanky route, then either HP percentage or defense percentage on the armor and gloves. And you can go HP percentage on both the gloves and armor, or you can mix it up and go defense percentage one, HP percentage the other. And the same applies to defense percent. If you wanted to go attack percentage, then attack percentage on the armor, and earlier in the game, attack percentage on the gloves. I don't know that I would recommend trying to work crit rate, crit damage into the build, because that's going to give you a lot of stats to work on, and he's not going to hit super hard anyway because his base attack is kind of low. So I don't know that I would waste crit rate on the gloves. I personally, if I was going to build him, I would build him tanky, speedy, accurate. That's what I would shoot for with him. And that's really it. I don't think he's awful. I just think there's probably better versions of whatever it is he's bringing to the fight. But it could be a fun little champ. If you see him and you like him and you decide you want to use him, I would probably use him in campaign as a full team. Maybe not as like part of the three star in the campaign duo, but as a team to push in campaign, I think he could be helpful. And then in dungeons, the turn meter knockback and the attack buff are going to be nice in the boss fight. So I think that's going to wrap it up for Flesheater. If you have any questions, feel free to drop them below. If you have any information on Flesheater, if you're using him and you love him or you hate him, whatever, drop it below. More information is always better. I appreciate you watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.